I'm teacher Darcy, and I teach reading to kids that struggle to learn to read, and I specialize in dyslexia. Today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about finding books for your beginning reader that your child can read with you during the summer, so they won't have a lot of summer slide. How can you successfully find the right book to read with your student? We're going to talk about two types of books. The types of books we're going to talk about are leveled books and decodable books. Here's a leveled book that I have that is, this is level 1 book. So I'm going to read the back to you. The back talks about what type of, reader this book is for. So pre-1, so before this, is for kids that are recognizing words, and it says for word repetition, familiar words and phrases, and simple sentences. Okay, I want to talk about that right now. That is, to me, there's all kinds of red flags going up when I hear these things right here. Recognizing words. We don't want kids to just recognize words. People that teach in the science of reading, we don't teach kids to memorize words. Instead, we teach kids to decode words. And what happens is your brain, when it sounds those words out, it just is practicing saying each sound of each letter in that word. Eventually it gets faster and faster at that until you just recognize it right away. But studies show that even really good readers that look like they're just reading the whole word right away are actually looking at the letters, and we get to where we are recognizing chunks of letters instead of reading, sounding out one letter at a time. Even beginner readers start to chunk the letters together. Like, for instance, you have to chunk SH, because we don't say S for SH, we say sh. It looks like we're just reading the whole word, but we're actually looking at each individual letter and reading, not just recognizing and memorizing words. So level 1 says starting to read. Simple stories, increased vocabulary, and longer sentences. Okay, so simple stories, that's good, that's all good. Increased vocabulary, but can they read the vocabulary? There's vowel teams and multi-syllable words. So if your child hasn't learned how to decode those things, then it's not decodable for them. If your child has learned about vowel teams and they know what sound those two vowels that are next to each other say, then that's decodable for them. So if they haven't learned that, then it's not decodable for them. So the point of a decodable book is that you only are reading the things that you've already learned. So if the teacher has already taught one sound for every letter and a short vowel sound, then the earliest decodable books, that's what it includes. It only has short vowel sounds and 3-letter words. So I've got a bunch of decodable books to show you that your child can be successful with. I wanted to show you the Bob books. These books are pretty popular, and they are the easiest books that I know of, because look at this book right here. On the very first page, it tells what is included. In this book, there's only 4 sounds. You only need to know the sound of M, A, T, and S, and you can read this book. Now, all it says, the first page says Matt. This is Matt right here. And some people think, well, decodable books are boring, because all it says is Matt sat. Kids that want to learn how to read do not find it boring when they are able to do it and they find success. What will discourage them from reading is not that they, something that's boring like this. What will discourage them is if they think, oh, it's level 1, I'm going to be able to read it, and they can't. Then they're just discouraged. But when they are successful, they are excited and they want to read more. And then they can go to the next book, and it will include 2 more sounds. 2 more sounds now. And each Bob book goes up, for a little bit more complicated. And there's a lot of Bob books. So that's how you can gradually build up and get better and better. So that's the simplest decodable books that I know of. Primary phonics books. Take a look, just so you can start recognizing these are decodable books. See how this book right here has only 3-letter words that are easy to sound out. They all have short vowels in them. There are no vowel teams. There's no vowel R. There's no multisyllable words in these books. They're easy to read, and the child can sound out every word. You don't need to help them unless they don't know the sounds or they are not able to blend. And that's another problem, but that we're not talking about today. Quite a few. I think there's 10 books. Well, you can get 20 books, I think, that just keep practicing the same thing, which is 3-letter words with short vowels. And then you will go up to the words that have the silent E. And then I think there's 10 or 20 books with long E. So there's lots of practice for your kid to practice those things. So they get gradually a little bit harder. I wanted to show you my favorite decodable books. They are from Flyleaf Publishing. Flyleaf is my favorite ones because they are so beautiful. I mean, they have great stories, and some people think that decodable books are boring and they are awkward and everything. These ones aren't. These ones are not boring. They're not awkward. The kids love them. They're beautiful pictures, but they still only have closed syllable words with short vowels in this one. And then this, they gradually get harder. So they go up to, this is multisyllable. This book has multisyllable words in it. And they have quite a lot. And maybe your child is a little more advanced, so maybe those are a good book for you. Usborne Books, they recently changed their name. So Usborne recently changed their name to, I think it's Paper Pie, something like that. And they have a lot of great books, and some of them are fairly decodable. But I wanted to, like this one right here, it looks like, if you just look at the title, you're like, oh, that's a great decodable book, because only 3 letters, short vowels. But this book does include vowel teams. It has some harder things. So I would keep these books there, and there's a bunch of them. They get a little bit harder. So they get, when your kid knows how to read the, like OU, the ow sound, and the OO. There's some books that have a lot of words with those, so they can practice them. So these are kind of fun. I want to tell you, if your child is a little bit more advanced, then you want to check out High Noon Books. High Noon Books has lots and lots of choices for you that are different levels. This right here, they're chapter books. They're short chapter books. I think they're about 45 pages. And they are true stories about mountain men, and they are at about reading level 2, grade 2. So, but they're interest level, hopefully, for anybody of any age. So maybe you have an older child that needs a book that is easy to read, but then you need to look at High Noon Books, because High Noon Books has a lot of what we call high-low books. They are of high interest, but they're low reading level. So check that out if you have an older student that needs something that's easy to read. Those are just a few different things, and I tried to go from easy to harder. So hopefully what I hope that you got out of that is What is a decodable book? A decodable book is a book that your child can decode. And that means that it only includes what they already know. If all they know is the sound of M, S, A, and T, then this is decodable for them. But something else like this would not be decodable to them. However, if they're in, second grade or above and they are able to read multi-syllable words, vowel teams and stuff like that, then this is decodable for them. And once you have practiced and you know all the rules and how the English language works, every book is decodable to you. So every book can be decodable, but when you are beginning to learn to read, you need to begin with easy stuff and you need to practice so you can get good at that. And some children need a lot of practice, and so they may need, a whole set of Bob books that gets harder and harder slowly but surely. So if your child needs that, I have tried to give you a couple of resources for those things. If you enjoyed that, please click the like button and also subscribe and tell your friends. Thanks so much, and see you next week.